Hey Bedford View, I'm Michelle Bennett, and I'm about to sit down for an episode of Crime Over Coffee with our neighbour Gavin Henry from the CPF to talk about pertinent safety and security issues that you and I need to know about, what's happening in our town, and how can we help the CPF serve us better. So Gavin, we're sitting here at Dalforno Pizza Pasta Grill, a lovely restaurant here in the strip of restaurants on Van Buren Road, just opposite the police station. And I mean, number one, they do so much for the community. I mean, they're great supporters of so many movements and support groups and whatever, so it's super great to be here. But I've heard that there is quite a special program that the CPF have put in place, especially for the strip. Tell me a little bit more.
The initiative that's going to be starting in a week or two is that we often find that, especially at night, the guys that are parking attendants here tend to drink alcohol, become drunk, get into fights. We've had a lot of vehicles broken into here, smash and grabs, cell phones, etc.
Wow.
So, and people think, well, it's right across from the police station, and you know, why can't the police do something about it? Well, the truth is that if the police were sitting all in the police station, we'd be complaining that they're not patrolling the streets. So,
and I've also heard a lot of like people sitting outside, cell phones being taken off tables and things
right,
like that, because it's
right.
quite a quick kind of getaway spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy. You can just stop a car, somebody jumps out, grabs a phone off a table, jump in the car, and they're gone. So what we want to do is we want to legitimize the guys that are parking attendants. We're not going to call them car guards or security, because they're not registered with anybody, but they are parking attendants. And we're going to give them a specific vest. First, we're going to vet them with the police. Have they got criminal records?
Okay.
So we're going to take their fingerprints, their names, etc. We're then going to, once they've come with a clear record, we're going to give them a vest to wear which is identifiable. It'll be red and it'll have a picture and their name on the front and a number on the back. They'll be issued that. They'll sign a code of conduct, which means they'll agree in writing that they will not be on duty drunk and that they will keep the area clean, that they are looking after. They'll pick up litter, amongst a couple of other commitments. And then we'd like to encourage the community, and we'd like to encourage the restaurants also to punt the guys in the red vests. We'll be putting up a sign. So if you
red vests are going to be the guys that are actual vetted parking attendants, not just your standard wonderful car guard that I adore that sits there telling me how to reverse and how to, when he doesn't have a driver's license, that one that I actually would prefer to drive a little bit further back into. We're going to have a guy that's vetted, fingerprinted, and
Yes, and if he's got a red vest and he's got his ID and the red vest has got his number on the back, then he's registered with us and we have vetted him. You are never obliged to give people any money. It's still always voluntary. It's just that we are trying to encourage the good element here rather than the bad, because we simply can't push them away. Also, we find that the bad element is really at night, so we need to concentrate mainly on that, on the nighttime guys, because a lot of the beggars who are begging during the day at the intersections come here and act as parking attendants or car guards at night, and they're the ones that are drunk or high on a drug called Niope that they're all using.
Yeah. And I know that that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about in a future segment, because
Correct.
it is something that is of great concern.
Correct.
You know, we've got a great heart for the people that are in need, but we also need a real solution, because it's bringing other kinds of trouble into the neighbourhood. So yeah, something that we see all the time, especially on the Basically Bedford View Facebook page, is people posting to the Facebook page when things are happening, asking for the phones of where to phone, and you know, who do we phone?
Okay, so Michelle, a couple of years ago, General Petros started what's called sector policing for SAPS, whereby you are encouraged to phone the sector vehicle which is in your area. So we would have various areas, and the sector vehicle will be patrolling in that area, and you phone directly to that vehicle. But what we found was that often the police batteries were flat, or didn't answer their phone, or left their phone at the police station. So people were calling in an emergency and not being able to get hold of the sector vehicle. So what we did was we set up together with iOpen, which is a local company in Bedford View, that they dial one specific number and the computer actually dials the one sector vehicle. If it's not answered in 15 seconds, it dials the second number, sector vehicle. If it's not answered in 15 seconds, it dials through to the station, and they can call the police by radio. So, and the benefit of that is that the calls are recorded, so we can hear if there's any dispute, we can find out why the phone wasn't answered, why the was somebody rude? Was the member rude? Was the member of SAPS, or was the community member rude?
So there's this benefit of a roll-on effect. So if one's not picking up, another one is, but then there's also this kind of service provider thing of we can also improve our service because we've got this.
Because what used to happen is that people would say, but I called the sector vehicle and there was no answer. Then we would try and address it with the police, and the police would say, but the phone didn't ring.
Yeah.
Then we don't know who's telling who, what number did you dial, etc.
So this is an innovation that the CPF have brought into play.
Exclusively to Bedford View. There's no other suburb. So the members can still phone the sector vehicle numbers. It's just that if they don't use our numbers, we can't track it. We can't see what happened. We can't follow up why it wasn't answered. But we need, when people are in an emergency, they need police, and they need them now, not tomorrow and say, well, why didn't you come?
Yeah. So these numbers we need, guys, and you'll see them on the screen right now. You need to put these numbers on your phone if you want the CPF to be serving you in and getting the value of this kind of service. Then you need to record these numbers.
So what's important is you need to know whether you're in Sector 1 or Sector 2 or Sector 3.
So how do I know what sector I'm in?
Okay. We'll be putting up on this video a picture of the different sectors. There are 3 sectors. If you're in Sector 1, you call the number for Sector 1, which is 011 400 6661. Sector 2 is the same number, 011 400 6662, and Sector 3 is 011 400 6663. That way you'll be routed directly to the sector vehicle, and if they are busy or can't answer, it will be diverted to the second sector vehicle and then to the station, who can then call the sector vehicle by radio.
Okay. So for those of you that have got your girlfriend on fast dial, the other number that you need on your phone is your Sector 1, 2 or 3 number. Just make sure that's on your speed dial. You were talking to me about this. I mean, I'm intrigued by it. You were saying in 2015 there was this event where a whole bunch of guards that are kind of sitting in their guardhouses protecting, certain areas were kind of in collusion with criminals.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, so we need to clarify a few things about guards, because often with guarding it can become a race to the bottom in terms of cost.
Yeah.
So what happened in 2015, between the 1st of May 2015 and the 15th of May 2015, we had 14 home invasions, which means that we were having one a day.
One a day?
One home invasion a day. And on the 15th of May, I suddenly got calls from Jill, our local councillor, and a couple of residents.
She's our local hero.
That's right.
What do we do with that?
What are we doing? What are the police doing arresting our guards? It's taking away our security. When I addressed it with the police, they, to cut a long story short, they could prove to me that they were only arresting illegal guards. In fact, some of them had false IDs. You could see that wasn't them. Their ID numbers were different to their registration papers.
I haven't had a fake ID since I was 13.
So what had happened was the police arrested 25 security guards, only between Van Buren Road and Kloof Road. That's only Upper Bedford View. They arrested 25 guards, 19 of which were illegal immigrants. You cannot be a security guard, a registered guard, if you're not a South African citizen. They were illegal immigrants, and the other 6 had fraudulent papers, registration papers.
Wow.
So we need to be sure that our guards are registered, because after the 15th of May until the end of May 2015, we only had 3 home invasions in the whole of Bedford View.
Wow. So from 14, from one a day, to how many?
To 3 in the next 2 weeks.
That brings me to the question, how do I know that my guard is legit?
All guards need to be registered with CIRA. It's spelled PSIRA. It's the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. They are regulated, and the amount that they can be paid is regulated. They need to have leave, they need to have a uniform, they need to have... It's about basic employment practices.
Okay.
They also are expected, or it is required that they are paid a certain amount, and if anybody is paying less than the CIRA registered rate, then they clearly are dealing with an illegal guard, and the risk of that is that we find ourselves in that position again, whereby the guards are
then they're going to be starting taking paybacks from other people.
That's right,
because they want to.
Yes. So what is the amount? It's about 11,000 rand plus VAT per shift per guard. So if someone has a 24-hour guard outside their house, they need to be paying at least 24,000 rand per month. If they're paying any less than that, their guard is not registered with CIRA, and they are at risk.
Look, I could do with $24,000 a month. Can I be a guard?
Unfortunately, it's not all paid to the guard.
Oh,
because it's through guarding companies, and this is where the trick is. It's easy for a guarding company to undercut that because there's no checks and balances. So if a guarding company wants to get the business, they can just employ somebody who's not registered and pay them less. Of course, the risk is now you're possibly giving somebody who's got a private weapon license a 3,000 or 5,000 rand a month to stand outside a very wealthy home and put their lives at risk during rain, during the sun, during winter, summer. And
so does CIRA put like any signage on the guardhouses or anything like that that will let us know?
No, but the guarding company needs to be registered with CIRA, and they need to show it. They can prove it to you with a certificate, and the guard himself needs to be registered with CIRA.
So what we're saying here, folks, is that if you've got a guard in your area, you need to make sure and take responsibility. Phone in, find out that your guard is properly registered and is protecting you. So the coffee is cold, but the topic was hot. Thanks for your time. It was, I'm far more informed, and you know, just as a person who lives in this neighbourhood, I want to just show you great appreciation. The CPF does so much for us, and I think it's really important for us as people that live in this village to know that we've got a big responsibility resting on the shoulders of a few, and it's time for us to step up and support them. Let's support our own community. Let's support each other. It's time to make Bedfordview safer.